The Silent Exodus. The Galactic Council of Unified Species celebrated its 10,000th anniversary with unprecedented fanfare. Representatives from 372 sentient civilizations gathered in the Grand Amphitheater on Nexus Prime, the artificial planet that had served as the galaxy's political center for millennia. The amphitheater's crystalline dome reflected the light of 7 nearby stars, bathing the delegates in a rainbow of colors that symbolized unity and cooperation. Councillor Vextar of the Ardelian hierarchy rose from his seat, his translucent exoskeleton glowing with the bioluminescent patterns that indicated formal address. "We honor the contributions of all species who have built this golden age of prosperity," he announced, his translator converting his ultrasonic chirps into the standard galactic language. "But we must acknowledge that without our human allies, none of this would be possible." The assembly erupted in agreement. Humans had joined the galactic community relatively late, only 800 years ago, but their impact had been transformative. Their adaptability, ingenuity, and unique approach to problem-solving had revolutionized everything from hyperdrive technology to medical science. Their diplomatic skills had resolved ancient conflicts, and their economic theories had created unprecedented prosperity. Ambassador Elena Chen, head of the Human Diplomatic Corps, smiled graciously as she acknowledged the recognition. The humans' delegation was modest in size compared to the other major powers, but their influence was unquestionable. Humanity's colonies spanned 17 star systems, with Earth remaining their spiritual and cultural center. "We are honored to contribute to the galactic community," Ambassador Chen replied. "May the next 10,000 years bring even greater harmony and advancement." None of the beings present in that magnificent ceremony could have imagined that within 3 standard days, every human in the galaxy would vanish without a trace. The disappearance was instantaneous and total. One moment, humans were present throughout the galaxy, on trading vessels, in research facilities, at diplomatic posts, in their colonies. The next moment, they were gone. No ships departed. No warning was issued. No trace remained. At first, the Council believed it must be some kind of elaborate deception or technological malfunction. The Viridian network, which connected all inhabited systems through quantum entanglement, reported disruptions that engineers initially attributed to a temporary failure. But as communications were restored, the reality became undeniable. The humans had simply ceased to exist within galactic space. Ambassador Zygrith of the Morican Imperium, a species known for their military prowess and strategic thinking, proposed an immediate expedition to Earth. "Something catastrophic may have occurred," he suggested, his armored exoskeleton clicking with concern. "Perhaps they require assistance." A fleet of vessels from 6 major civilizations converged on the Sol system within 30 hours. What they found defied explanation. Earth remained. Its blue oceans, white clouds, and green continents appeared unchanged. But all human structures had vanished. Cities, orbital stations, defense systems, all gone. Scans revealed a planet teeming with non-sentient life, but devoid of any human presence or technology. It was as if humanity had been surgically extracted from existence. The same pattern repeated at every human colony and outpost. The planets remained, but all evidence of human habitation had disappeared. It was not destruction. There was no debris, no radiation, no signs of conflict. It was erasure, clean and complete. The initial confusion quickly gave way to practical concerns. Humanity had become integral to galactic infrastructure. The quantum communication network that enabled instantaneous communication across thousands of light years had been designed and maintained primarily by human engineers. The anti-gravitational generators that powered most major cities had been refined by human physicists. The medical protocols that had extended lifespans across dozens of species had emerged from human research institutions. Within a week of the disappearance, the first systems began to fail. On Celeria Prime, the atmospheric regulators that maintained breathable conditions for its 20 billion inhabitants started malfunctioning. The Silurian engineers who attempted to repair them discovered that critical components utilized principles they didn't fully understand. The technology had been developed through human-Silurian collaboration, with humans providing key innovations. In the Draconis sector, trade routes collapsed when navigation systems developed by human programmers began generating errors that made hyperspace travel increasingly dangerous. 3 major transport vessels were lost before authorities suspended all non-essential travel. The Ardelian banking network, which handled 63% of all galactic transactions, suffered cascading failures when its predictive algorithms, designed by human economists, began producing nonsensical forecasts. Financial markets plunged into chaos, wiping out trillions in value overnight. Councillor Vextar convened an emergency session of the Galactic Council 2 weeks after the disappearance. The magnificent amphitheater, which had so recently hosted celebrations, now crackled with tension and fear. "We face an unprecedented crisis," Vextar announced, his bioluminescent patterns pulsing with distress signals. The abrupt removal of humanity from our civilization has revealed a disturbing truth. We have become dependent on them to a degree none of us realized. Ambassador Telkin of the Neurethi Collective, a hive mind species known for their analytical abilities, presented the first comprehensive assessment of the situation. 42% of critical galactic infrastructure relies on human technology or expertise, the ambassador's primary node reported. Without maintenance, these systems will experience complete failure within 6 to 18 months. "Can we not reverse engineer their technologies?" asked Representative Koldax of the Zenthuri Republic, his tentacles twisting in agitation. "Surely our combined scientific knowledge." "We have already begun such efforts," interrupted Director Lan of the Galactic Science Academy. The ancient Medusan's crystalline body refracted light as she moved to the center of the chamber. But many human innovations were integrated into our systems without complete documentation. They often solved problems through intuitive leaps that our more methodical approaches missed. We estimate it would take decades to fully understand and replicate some of their advancements. "Decades we do not have," growled Ambassador Zykrith. "The military implications alone are catastrophic." The defensive shield networks protecting 17 major systems were co-developed with humans. They require regular recalibration that only human engineers knew how to perform. The council chamber erupted into overlapping voices as representatives from dozens of species voiced their concerns and demands. Some proposed radical redistribution of resources to critical systems. Others suggested abandoning the most human-dependent technologies and reverting to earlier methods. A few even accused rival factions of somehow engineering humanity's disappearance to gain advantage. After hours of increasingly desperate discussion, a communication technician interrupted the proceedings. "Counselors, we have received a transmission," the young Thalarian announced, her feathered crest standing erect with excitement. "It appears to be of human origin." The chamber fell instantly silent. The technician activated the central holographic display, which showed only a simple text message. "The ANSV are ATs ATDEG. Coordinates 957 to 382 446 to 113. Send repeats and IVs of DHE major powers. If you wish to understand." The coordinates pointed to a location in uncharted space, beyond the galaxy's outer rim. A journey of at least 3 months even for the fastest vessels. "It could be a trap," warned Ambassador Zykrith, "or a hoax." "What choice do we have?" replied Councillor Vextar. "Our civilization is unraveling. If there is even a chance of finding answers, or bringing humanity back, we must take it." The assembly debated briefly before reaching consensus. They would send a diplomatic mission to the mysterious coordinates. The vessel would carry representatives from the 7 most powerful civilizations, along with scientific and military personnel equipped to handle any scenario. As the council session ended, the representatives dispersed to prepare for what might be the most important expedition in galactic history. None spoke the fear that haunted them all. What if humanity had not disappeared by accident or external force? What if they had chosen to leave? And if so, what could have driven them to abandon the civilization they had helped build? The answer waited at the edge of the galaxy, an answer that would fundamentally change how every species understood their place in the cosmos. The revelation. The diplomatic vessel Convergence represented the pinnacle of galactic engineering, or what remained of it after humanity's departure. Its sleek, biomimetic hull incorporated technologies from dozens of civilizations, allowing it to traverse the vast emptiness between spiral arms faster than any previous ship. Even so, the journey to the coordinates took nearly 4 months, as navigational systems struggled without human oversight. The 12 delegates aboard represented the Galactic Council's major powers, each chosen for their expertise and diplomatic skills. Admiral Torlak of the Morican Imperium commanded the military contingent, his battle-scarred exoskeleton bearing the marks of 100 campaigns. Professor Illyria, a Medusan physicist, led the scientific team tasked with analyzing whatever they might find. Councillor Vextar himself represented the political interests of the Galactic Council. As they approached the coordinates, the ship's sensors detected anomalies that defied standard physical laws. Space itself seemed to ripple around them, creating visual distortions that made several crew members physically ill. "These readings are impossible," Professor Illyria announced, her crystalline form vibrating with agitation. "It's as if we're passing through a membrane between different states of reality." The ship's AI displayed the external view on the main screen. Ahead lay what appeared to be a tear in the fabric of space, a swirling vortex of energy unlike anything in recorded galactic history. "Is it natural?" asked Councillor Vextar. "No," replied Professor Illyria definitively. "This is engineered technology, but far beyond our understanding. The energy signatures suggest it's creating a stable pathway between our space and somewhere else." Admiral Torlak's mandibles clicked nervously. "Are we certain we want to proceed? This could be an extragalactic threat, perhaps the real reason for humanity's disappearance." Councillor Vextar's bioluminescent patterns shifted to indicate resolute determination. "We've come too far to turn back. The galaxy is falling apart without humanity. Whatever lies beyond that threshold, we need answers." The Convergence transmitted all its data back to the Galactic Council before cautiously approaching the anomaly. As they crossed the boundary, the ship's systems momentarily failed, plunging them into darkness before emergency power engaged. When the main view screen reactivated, the delegates gazed in collective astonishment at what lay before them. A vast spherical structure hung in space, a Dyson swarm surrounding a blue-white star. Trillions of habitat modules, energy collectors, and unidentifiable constructs orbited in perfect harmony, creating an artificial system that dwarfed anything known to galactic civilization. And at the center of it all, unmistakable human designs were evident in the architecture. "They're here," whispered Councillor Vextar. "They didn't vanish. They relocated." The ship's communication system activated without prompt. A human face appeared on the screen. A woman with dark skin and silver hair, her expression solemn but not unwelcoming. "I am Director Amara Okafor of the Human Collective," she said. "Welcome to Terminus. We've been expecting you." Within hours, the delegation was shuttled to a massive central hub within the Dyson swarm. The interior spaces were clearly designed to accommodate various alien physiologies, with environmental systems that automatically adjusted to the delegates' biological needs. Director Okafor met them in a circular chamber whose walls displayed real-time images of the galaxy they had left behind. She was accompanied by several other humans of varying ages and ethnicities, all watching the aliens with expressions ranging from curiosity to sadness. "You've come seeking answers," Okafor began without preamble. "You want to know why humanity withdrew from galactic society. The simplest answer is that we had no choice, for your sake as much as ours." "For our sake." Admiral Torlak's translator struggled to convey his incredulity. "Your departure has thrown our civilization into chaos. Critical systems are failing across the galaxy. Billions may die if we cannot maintain the infrastructure you helped build. Okafor nodded grimly. Exactly as we feared. You became dependent on us, not through any malice on your part, or any grand design on ours. It simply happened, gradually, inevitably. Professor Ilaria moved forward, her crystalline body refracting the room's light. I don't understand. If you recognize this dependency, why not work with us to reduce it? Why this dramatic disappearance? We tried, replied an older human male who introduced himself as Dr. Marcus Chen, the former ambassador's father. For over a century, we attempted to implement knowledge-sharing initiatives, collaborative engineering projects designed to ensure all species fully understood the technologies we developed together. Those efforts consistently failed. Failed? Questioned Vextar. How so? It was cultural, not intellectual, Okafor explained. Human problem-solving approaches developed along different pathways than most galactic species. We tend to make intuitive leaps, to work through trial and error, to embrace what you might call messy solutions. Most galactic civilizations evolved more methodical, hierarchical approaches to knowledge and technology. When we tried to fully document our innovations, continued Dr. Chen, other species would implement the solutions but remain unable to adapt them to new circumstances or troubleshoot them when problems arose. It created an unsustainable situation where humanity became the essential maintainers of increasingly critical systems. But that doesn't explain your complete withdrawal, insisted Admiral Torlak. Surely some continued presence. Our predictive models were unanimous, interrupted a younger woman who introduced herself as Dr. Sofia Santos, head of societal dynamics. As long as humans remained within the galactic community, dependency would increase. Other species would continue to incorporate our methodologies without truly understanding them. We were creating a civilization-wide single point of failure, ourselves. Counselor Vextar's bioluminescent patterns shifted to indicate deep distress. So you abandoned us to force self-reliance. We created a controlled crisis, corrected Okafor. We withdrew completely, but left intact systems and comprehensive documentation. The current failures you're experiencing are recoverable, painful, but survivable. Had we remained integrated for another century, the eventual, inevitable separation would have caused a collapse from which galactic civilization might never have recovered. You could have warned us, said Professor Ilaria softly. Dr. Chen shook his head. Our simulations showed that advance warning would have led to panic, resource hoarding, and potentially widespread conflict as various factions attempted to secure human expertise exclusively for themselves. What happens now? Asked Counselor Vextar. Will you return? Director Okafor walked to the window overlooking the massive structure that housed trillions of humans. That depends on you, all of you. We haven't abandoned the galaxy permanently. We've created this place, Terminus, as a transition point. From here, we can observe and assist without enabling dependency. She turned back to the delegation. We've prepared comprehensive resources, adaptive learning systems designed to bridge the gap between human intuitive thinking and your methodological approaches. We've also identified key systems throughout the galaxy that require immediate attention to prevent catastrophic failure. We can provide targeted assistance. But you won't simply return, Vextar concluded. Not as we were, Okafor confirmed. The relationship must change. The galaxy must learn to stand without using humanity as a crutch, and we must learn how to contribute without becoming an essential component that cannot be removed without causing collapse. The delegation remained at Terminus for 2 weeks, establishing protocols for limited reintegration and emergency intervention where needed. They departed with a flotilla of small, specialized human teams prepared to address the most critical infrastructure failures, along with advanced teaching systems designed to transfer genuine understanding rather than mere procedural knowledge. As the Convergence prepared to return through the spatial anomaly, Counselor Vextar stood with Director Okafor in the observation deck. I understand your reasoning, the Ardelian admitted, but I cannot help feeling that humanity has acted paternalistically, deciding what was best for all without consultation. Okafor smiled sadly. Perhaps, but consider the alternative. Had we simply announced our concerns, would the Council have agreed to a controlled withdrawal? Or would political and economic interests have prevailed, leading to half measures and continued dependency? Vextar's bioluminescence pulsed in reluctant agreement. The Council rarely acts until crisis forces its hand. Exactly, said Okafor. We created a survivable crisis now to prevent an unsurvivable one later. It was not a decision we made lightly. As the ship departed, carrying its vital cargo of human specialists and knowledge transfer systems, the delegates knew that galactic civilization would never be the same. The comfortable dependency that had characterized the relationship with humanity was over. In its place would emerge something more challenging but ultimately more sustainable, a true partnership of equals, each contributing their unique perspectives and abilities without becoming essential to the other's survival. The galaxy would survive humanity's absence, and in learning to do so, it would become stronger than it had ever been before.